I want to thank all of you for coming today. I also want to thank Chairman Smith and Chairman Goodlatte for doing this joint bipartisan, bicameral event today to highlight what is really a serious problem for American businesses, a threat to American jobs, and of course my friend Congressman John Conyers and Congressman Howard Berman. I want to say that online infringement is not the only issue, intellectual property issue we're working on together. Chairman Smith and Goodlatte introduced the America Invents Act and held a hearing on it last week, and I want to applaud you for the work you've done on that. And the similarities between the Smith-Goodlatte bill, patent bill, and the legislation that passed the Senate last month is no coincidence. We've been working together for several Congresses now. And in fact, the Senate bill is based on the original bill authored by Chairman Smith back in 2005. You know, at a time when everybody looks for strife and conflict, I think a lot of you who spend time covering the Congress know that there's an enormous amount of work that goes on between the House and the Senate, between Republicans and Democrats, that may not get a lot of press attention, but is important for the country. And I think with the leadership of both chairmen, we're going to get a bill to the president's desk that will benefit America's inventors and won't add a penny to the deficit. Keep in mind, American intellectual property accounts for more than $5 trillion. Intellectual property intensive industries employ more than 18 million workers. Our intellectual property is crucial to America's prosperity and welfare. One of the reasons why we have both business and labor who've come together to support what we're doing. The theft of American intellectual property threatens our prosperity. Online infringement, the sale of counterfeit goods costs American creators, producers, businesses billions of dollars and results in the loss of hundreds of thousands of jobs. This theft is unacceptable at any time, certainly in this economic climate, is damaging really to our security as a nation. And the threat is often coming from rogue websites. They often operate overseas. They steal American intellectual property. They make themselves look legitimate. They have fancy graphics. They use what look like real logos. They accept well-known payment cards. And then they sell Americans stolen goods. That's theft, pure and simple. And nothing more than digital stores selling stolen, in the case of counterfeits, often dangerous products. If you're buying a counterfeit product, doesn't make safety standards, you could risk your life. If they existed in the physical world, if it was a storefront doing this, everyone would agree. Go down, raid them, lock them up, shutter the place. Well, we have to do that the same if it's happening over the internet. And so it shows that this is not a Republican or Democratic issue. It's not a labor or business issue. It is an issue that affects every one of us. And I want to stop this. I want people to have to obey the law. But especially, I want to make sure those people, the very inventive people in our country, and we have such remarkable men and women who invent, that they can be protected in what they do.
Thank you very much. This is a big problem. It's a big problem for our industry. It's a big problem for our company. And it's great to see such a diverse group of people coming together to focus on a very real problem like this. And online counterfeiting is becoming increasingly, and I think really over the last couple of years it's gotten much worse, a growing problem in our industry. And we're chasing thousands of counterfeiters who are selling millions of dollars in fake products. And that's an obvious problem for branded companies such as ours and others in our industry. We've saw loss of sales. It's high cost of enforcement where we can actually enforce that at all. And at the end of the day, it's a threat to real jobs in this country for people who are trying to make and sell legitimate products. But at the end of the day, the most important thing to us is it's a problem for consumers. And it's consumers who are tricked into paying for phony product and putting their payment information over the internet to a criminal who then sends them a substandard product. So the one thought I want to leave you with today is We often get notified of these rogue sites from different services that we employ, or we may stumble upon them ourselves, but increasingly the way we're finding out about them is through our warranty department. And that's when consumers are coming to us and they've got a product that didn't work, that failed them in a rough terrain or someplace where they needed a product to perform. And they're more than disappointed to find out that they bought it from someone who was breaking the law and made a product that didn't meet any safety standards or quality standards.
Thank you, Senator Leahy, for inviting my participation today and for your courageous leadership in fighting online infringement. And thank you also to each of the members of Congress for your support in combating digital theft. I'm Paul Almeida, President of the Department for Professional Employees at the AFL-CIO. The department is a coalition of 23 unions representing more than 4 million professional and technical workers. Among those unions are 9 that represent hundreds of thousands of creative professionals and other workers in the arts, entertainment, media industries. The members include actors, stage employees and technicians, musicians, writers, editors, and many others. My message is simple. For these skilled professionals, online infringement is wage theft. For these unique industries, many hardworking professionals depend on residual and royalty payments for much of their income. Back-end payments from repeated showings of films and television shows and royalties is how they earn their living. Those payments also fund their health insurance and pension programs. Digital theft costs arts, entertainment, and media industries billions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of jobs. Too few people who download entertainment illegally recognize, though, that they are stealing wages and benefits from workers. The reality lends to a special urgency to the work of each member of Congress here today to undertake. The 9 arts and entertainment and media unions that I am honored to represent unanimously support the Combating Online Infringement and Counterfeit Act in the last Congress, and they are ready to work with you again today. You started by saying this was bipartisan and bicameral. You also have business and labor, and they're all on the same side, so I'm not sure what you call that, but I'll leave that to you.
I'll tell Paul Almeida that we call it a very, very good coalition. Should somebody who owns a business sell for less to compete with the person who broke into their store the night before and stole half their goods and are selling them on the street corner for less? Or should they be able to call the police and say, why don't you arrest the guy who broke into our business? I go with the latter. You charge too much, you're not going to sell them. I mean, that's a business thing. But the fact is, and if you make a lousy movie, it's not going to sell no matter what you charge it for. Look at some of the remainder things when you go in a store. You look at those specials on some DVDs, and you look at it and you say, I wouldn't watch that if you paid me to it. On the other hand, you find something that's really good, and it makes a good thing. But those are business things. But people should, if somebody creates something and they sell it for too much and it doesn't sell, well, that's a business thing, and they'll change their pricing. But they shouldn't have to compete against stolen property. You shouldn't have to compete against criminals. If you're obeying the law, if you're following the rules, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, you shouldn't have to be in competition with criminals.